What's up, everybody? This is Joi Carter, and you're watching The Creative Mindset.
Welcome back to another episode of The Creative Mindset. We got a very special guest today. I say that every episode, and I'm going to keep acknowledging that I do that. But we have this young lady right here, a fire artist, a natural artist since as a child, tattoo artist, painter. We just had like a conversation off camera, but this is very important to me. And the way that she connects with her community, and she has that philanthropic bag. So, Creative Mindset community, I want you to welcome Joi Carter in this place.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We normally dap people up and slap hands, but
I appreciate you.
But she was a fairy. Yeah.
She was a fairy. Hey. Okay.
I appreciate you for joining us today.
Yeah.
So, the number one thing I want to talk about before we get into the art.
Okay.
I know what you just said off camera, but let's talk more about your ties with the Neighborhood Connection.
Okay.
And what inspired you to even work with the organization.
So I have to go way back, actually, because I've been in nonprofit for about 7 or 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to college, I learned a lot about myself. I really got into Black history. A lot of my elder classmen were into history and just getting me hip to different things. And I tapped into a part of me that I didn't know existed. I went natural. This was in the natural phase. Like, the natural movement was big. People wasn't going natural before, like, well, it was a time, but this was like a big at my school because it was a PWI. It wasn't a lot of Black women embracing themselves and just embracing their beauty and their power. Mm-hmm. And I went to school for fashion, but part of me always wanted to do something in the community. I was connected. Like, okay, white supremacy exists. How do we end these issues that's happening in our community? What does that look like? What kind of work? What does that look like in Cleveland when I get back home? So I started doing research. Like, what are nonprofits? What's philanthropy? What is neighborhood development? And I ended up getting an internship at Land Studio. Mm-hmm. So this was like around 2017. From there, I started doing. I was a project manager intern. I was like a moving title. I was managing different community engagement projects. So we would go into like Harvey Rice Branch Library and doing different work in the schools just to connect them to the artists who did murals in the neighborhood. Because a lot of people didn't know the people who did the murals in the Buckeye neighborhood, in Mount Pleasant. And I'm like, what is this work called? And they're like, this is community engagement. This is how you connect with your community. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know. And I was doing the work. And I'm an artist at heart too. So it was a tie to the art in the community. So I wanted to do more of it when my internship was over. So then I started applying. I worked for United Way. I worked for Midtown Cleveland, which is it is a community development corporation in the Midtown neighborhood, close to the Huff neighborhood. And then after that, I went to work for the Cleveland Foundation. And then Neighborhood Connections through it all has always been my mentor. Someone of that organization has helped me, whether it's learning how to speak, introduced me to creating safe spaces, because they coined the term, like in where I work, in my sector, creating safe spaces for people. That's the first time I ever heard it, was at Neighborhood Connections and going to the neighborhood nights and really putting community first in these conversations. I learned it just attending Neighborhood Connections events. So I always had a connection with Tom, the director. So when I had an opportunity to hire someone, I just reached out like, hey, I want to do more work on the ground. With the pandemic happening, we're not doing much. We're not having a lot of momentum. We're all mobile. How can I stay connected to the community? How can I do more of the work? I can't be in these buildings. I can't be in the office all day. I want to be out in the ground, out and about. Mm-hmm. And he like, we're hiring. And we had a conversation and he hired me. This was almost 3 years ago. And the work that I do there, I have complete autonomy to be myself. And that's one thing when you do this work. Sometimes you're fearful of like, can you show up and be you? Especially when you're working these spaces where a lot of these faces who are these directors and executive directors, they don't look like you. They're not from your city, they're not from your community. They just literally passing through and creating all these laws and stuff to kind of keep us in the space, keep us locked in. And I'm a person that, I didn't go to school for this, I went to school for fashion, but I'm just tapped in because I know when things aren't right, I want to change it. That's just naturally who I am. So when I got the job with Neighborhood Connections, it was just a perfect fit. And from there, I've been leading the Arts and Culture Network Nights and more stuff I'm sure we're going to talk about. But that's a long story to kind of tell you that I don't have a traditional background in learning about community. I'm just of the community, and I wanted to incorporate that in what I do. So that's how I kind of got into it.
I appreciate you for sharing that, because a lot of community engagement starts with the heart, with being passionate about it. And that's just not something for anybody to get into it. Some people may get into it for those dollars, but it's important that you got into it because it's your community. You know what I mean? And like you said, when you see something that needs to change, you feel responsible for it. And that's important to get that information out there. And then you're an artist, so you even have a different lens that you're viewing these things from.
Definitely.
So I most certainly appreciate that, and that's something to be very proud of.
Thank you. I appreciate you for even making sure I highlight that, because sometimes when you do that work, you're tunnel vision, and sometimes you don't realize you can be complacent, you know, and I never want to be that type of person. I always ask the community to hold me accountable. Hold me accountable. If I'm not doing what I need to be doing, hold me accountable. You can't really bank on trust. Trust is earned. And that's the term they use all the time. Let's get the community to trust us. They don't have to trust you based on the history that's been, you know, accounted for. They don't have to trust anything, especially with community development corporations, how historically they've done things to tear our communities down purposely. Whether it's redlining, all these other things, we don't have to. History repeats itself. And this is the 2025 version of it, right? So I don't ever have the community, they hold me accountable regardless, I should say that. And I'm grateful to have mentors in the space that, you know, I've learned so much from. So, yeah.
So by you not having a traditional art background, what gravitated you towards art? Because you said you went to school for fashion.
Yeah.
And I know us, we are fashion as Black people, as a community. We are fashion. But why not get into that corporate space from what, you know, us being the trendsetters, the innovators of what fashion is? So how did you get into art?
That's a good question. So art has always been like my superpower. Like I knew I can draw different or like draw better than my peers when I was like in kindergarten and like preschool, because kids was drawing like little like, you know, stick figures and scribble scrabble. I'm really drawing real people. Like my mom, like I know all the characters that you just drew. I know exactly what the scene is, and my mom stored that talent and that energy. Like she knew I had something special. Some people like, oh, that's cute, baby. I'll put it on the refrigerator. My mom really believed that I can do something with it. And so even with that, with piano, because I used to play piano by ear, we always had a keyboard in our house. We had a piano in our house. My grandmother had a piano in her house, so I always would practice. So those are skill sets that I always just kind of honed in, and I had family that supported that. So when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, because I didn't think you could do anything artistically. I thought you had to be a teacher or some type of 9-to-5, this traditional route. I didn't know being an artist or creative was an actual path. So I actually didn't even know where to start. I thought I did all this just for fun. But when I talked to my guidance counselor in high school, she's like, no, you can actually, she asked me what do you like? What are you into? I'm like, I guess I like clothes. I get dressed up. It's for school. I spray paint things on my clothes. I draw on my shoes. I rip my jeans up. She's like, you know, you can have a career in that. I'm like, really? You know, you can travel. You can do all types of things. I'm like, oh, I didn't know. So she listed out the different schools in Ohio, because I wanted to stay local because I was a homebody. So she listed different schools. And I didn't want to go for design. I wanted to go for the business of fashion. And Bowling Green offered a business of fashion program, more so the merchandising program. And I also minored in marketing. They declared my minor of marketing. And I told them, I don't want to lose the art component. So art is also my minor. So that's when I learned how to paint, because I was just drawing, sketching, but then I learned how to do portraits, and I was failing the portrait class. Like I couldn't do portraits, I couldn't do still life. I'm like, what am I doing here? But then we had to do a final, and the final was maybe this is a little self-centered, but the final was you had to paint a picture of somebody you care about, and I painted myself. And I thought it was powerful, and it was something that I rarely even look at myself. And I think it was just the ultimate, you know, love to myself, expressing self-love and painting me. And I loved it. That was my first portrait ever. I gave it to my mom. I still have it. That was almost 12 years ago. And from there, I kept painting. Oil painting is my medium of choice. And I had a moment where I wasn't doing anything artistically. I was just not in that mental space. To be honest, I was actually in a relationship that just wasn't serving me. So I didn't have that space or that support to kind of continue to do it. And then when I kind of got out of it, my creative energy came back. And that's when I took art seriously in 2021, 2022. And I started figuring out what my style is and trying to tap into different styles and submit for different galleries and exhibitions. And then, yeah, that kind of led me to just coming, being a part of the art culture here in Cleveland. So, and with my community engagement background, I kind of already knew a lot of the arts organizations because I funded them before when I worked for the foundation. So kind of both of my philanthropic background and my art background kind of helped serve this purpose because they were working in tangent, which I thought actually helped me because I didn't have to start from over, where some people don't have those resources or the network. I actually was connected, and people didn't know I was an artist. So when they found out, they're like, oh, wow. And then it just was a blessing in disguise because the work that I thought was just busy work was actually work that is helping my career. So, yeah.
So we actually share something in common. I work for a nonprofit as well.
Okay.
Been in the nonprofit space for 6 years.
That's cool.
The part where you are doing art and still being politically liberated at the same time is called artivism.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're using your art to basically translate a message. Inherently, that's what art is really about, giving something internal and giving it back. Can you speak about the freedom that art brings you, the feeling and the emotion that it invokes, and how do you shift the community to a certain message? You said it's about gaining the trust. So how do you shift the community towards a certain message with your art?
I love that question. Well, one, I would say art is something I don't even think about. It's like I literally do. And when I paint, I feel tapped in a way. I feel spiritually connected. Like if somebody was to explain how you painted that, I couldn't. Because God is moving through me. I literally feel that way. And it's literally what makes me happy. It's giving me peace, gives me joy when I'm creating. When I'm not creating, I'm not a person who, if I'm depressed or feeling sad about life or things that's like not going well, I'm not a person that can just create. I actually have to be in a good space to create. Okay. Like I'm not a person who can take it out on the canvas. Like I literally would not do the canvas service. So being, and that's when I can just, in those times when I'm not in my best space, I have to actually step away from art. I have to go, whether it's go for a walk, be with nature, and then come back and be centered again, and I can be able to create. But it's just a vehicle for me to be myself. A lot of my art is nostalgic. You're gonna see a lot of homage to Cleveland, like Randall Park Mall. I got a piece called "The Mall Still Open," where I got the City Blue bag, I got the Jeepers cup, the pothole of the parking lot. I got the spray painted Timbs, the name belts, because that's what I remember growing up. Like my dad would take me to Randall Park Mall Saturdays when the J's dropped. We used to get whatever J's came out, all 5 of my siblings, and we'll wear the shoes outside. He was like, put your old shoes in a box, wear the new J's, and we'll walk outside. And that's just a memory that made me feel good. And I capture those memories in my paintings. I got a painting with Dorothy Dandridge that I painted. Dorothy's on my arm. I love to highlight some of the hidden gems, especially people who are from the city, who from Cleveland. So when people see my work, they see that. They see light. They see happiness. They see memories that's only tied to the city. Like you gotta, if you know kind of thing. And a lot of it is not always Cleveland centered, but it's some nuggets in there. Like I painted an Oldsmobile. My mom was talking about, what was the car that people used to ride in the 80s and the 70s, that if you was in that car, you was that person. She was like the Oldsmobile. If you was in a Cutlass Supreme or Oldsmobile, like she was just naming them, and I painted it. I wasn't even there. I'm not from that era, but it just felt good to talk about that. And I was just paying homage to my parents in that piece. So long story short, my work, my art captures light, peace, happiness, my inner child. A lot of my pieces are bright, vivid. I got an Urkel piece, like, Hey Arnold, the cartoons I used to watch, the just things that just give me happy memories. Because a lot of the work that I do see or that I'm around, it can be sad sometimes, and I don't want my art to always be representing the struggle. But we can talk about triumph sometimes. You know, we can talk about positive things, even if the subject is negative. It's a way we can capture the audience and still bring peace. And these are pieces that I have in my house, so I only want peace in my home. So yeah, and when I talk to the community, the things that I want them to see in my work is that Cleveland is beautiful. The people from Cleveland is beautiful. It's a beautiful city. To be from this city you're a gem. You're amazing. To survive the things you survived, to view this place as a beautiful place. I mean, I think growing up we've been told everybody want to leave. It's a lot of amazing things here if you really tap into it. It's a beautiful communities that are here, especially the art community. We have a great art community, you know, that I think people need to really talk more about. But you don't have to leave necessarily to experience what's beautiful about our home. And a lot of people who are not from here talk about it. And sometimes I get mad, like, all right, y'all, I get it. You visiting, you love it here, but I'm from here. And I'm gonna also share the beauty about it too, because I didn't realize it was beautiful until I became of a certain age. But I hope I'm answering your question, but I'm really just saying
You answered it.
I just want peace.
I don't mean
Peace
to
for
cut you
real.
off in
No, for
wisdom.
sure.
I apologize.
No, you good. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, actually.
You definitely answered. I want to backpedal a little bit when you said that you wanted to create art from a happy medium. That's the first time that I heard that in a while, that you wanted to be your art to come from a pure place.
Yes.
With no ill intent from emotion or be emotionally motivated. We've had previous conversations about what comes from a dark space. You actually remove yourself to be recentered.
Yeah.
Does that purity within your heart from just coming from a good place, does that decide which medium that you use to create your art? Does that change versus a painting versus a tattoo? Like how are you motivated to do which one?
That's a really good question. I think either way, I really don't want to be tattooing nobody in a good space, in a bad space. But I would say medium of choice, I don't even have control. It's literally a feeling. Like I wake up like I want to paint this thing. I want to do this thing today. I have to get it off. I'm in a good space for today. I got to do this. I got to get it off. And I kind of move with the current of my energy and my space, like my mental space, whatever I'm feeling, I just act on it. And I don't want to lose that energy that's coming out. So I kind of just go off whatever I'm feeling that day. So if it's a good day where I'm feeling really good, most likely it's a portrait. Most likely it's or it could be a combination between something abstract, where I'm just splashing paint on the canvas, and then I might get back to it. But something creative, something to channel that feeling. And 9 times out of 10, it's something on the canvas. With tattooing, that's a whole nother avenue. And actually just talking to the clients, you'd be surprised just the energy they bring from their stories as to why they're getting a tattoo. I feel a lot of responsibility and I feel honored actually when I hear people share stories about their grandparents passing away, and they would love to get not a portrait because I'm not doing portraits, but they would love to get a piece in memories of them. And I'm like, you pick me, you know? It's like, and some people might think, okay, I'm just knock this out real quick. But no, I feel the weight of that, and I feel the connection of that. So, yeah, that's mainly the medium of choice. Just varies. But if it's a good day, most likely it's a canvas. But yeah.
You mentioned a lot of emotions when creating.
Yeah.
I don't know if those are the results
Yeah.
of creating or while you're creating. But and I also heard you say that a lot of it is just coming through God.
Yeah.
While you're in the moments. Can you describe to us some of the feelings that you feel when you're like letting go and creating?
Y'all asking some really good questions, man. I'm just present. I'm really just present. So I'm literally feeling just at that moment. I'm just feeling the feels. Like I'm present. Nothing else is around me. Nothing else matters. I'm calm. I might have some background noise, some music or like a movie on in the back, but I'm just tapped in, and I'm literally just going. It's as simple as that. And sometimes I'm surprised at what come out of my head, like the things that I want to do. You'd be surprised. Sometimes I have imposter syndrome with my work because I've started over so many times. I thought being an artist was something someone had to call you. I didn't know it was just a gift from God. Like, I thought you had to, I didn't know it was self-proclaimed, right? So an artist can be anybody who express themselves, who love art, who's creative. You don't have to have accolades to be an artist. And I thought that, so I will be kind of insecure because I thought just off of comparing, we're all humans. We compare our work all the time. And I used to be like, I'm not an artist. I just do this thing. But then I stopped talking like that because that's not true. I am an artist. God gave me this gift, and I love what I do. And you don't have to be in a million different galleries or exhibitions to be an artist. Like, that's not realistic. That's not fair to say. I think I feel more powerful. Even if I don't have to have any monetary gain from this. I do it because I love it, because it brings me peace and joy, like I said. So I just do it because it just brings me home. I don't know. It's like tapping into my childhood light, for real. That when I used to be in those spaces where I wanted to escape the world, I go straight to my sketchbook. That's the same thing I do now. Like, I just, it's just depending on whatever's going on in life. But in reality, I think sometimes we put ourselves down unintentionally because we put too much pressure on stuff sometimes. And I say we, mainly me. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I think that changed how I viewed my work too at one point. So yeah, I lost my train of thought. But go ahead.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And art is very subjective.
Yeah.
On a lighthearted note.
And I don't even do that anymore. I think I used to do that, but I changed. I mean, we all do it. That's to say we don't do it.
Yeah, because it's a heat check.
It is. I don't do it to where I'm relying on that. I don't rely on it. It's good for inspiration and motivation, but I know my why and why I create. If I don't create, I'm literally dormant. I have to create. I have to. So
on a lighthearted note, what's your go-to music?
Go-to music when I paint?
Yeah. Paint or when you do tattoos?
Or when I tattoos, 90s, R&B, 70s, 80s.
Who's your go-to artist?
So in the shop, we're gonna play some Luther. We're gonna, the owner of the shop, shout out to Johnny Hayden, I'm at Focus Tattoos in Euclid. He plays jazz when we tattoo. And I noticed the difference in some of the clients. They're way more relaxed because they're already at edge. I'm about to do this crazy thing, put this needle in me as you draw this design. Some of them have never got a tattoo before in their life, and he literally plays jazz. They're all relaxed, calm. And I'm like, I love it. I love tattooing to jazz. I love painting to jazz. Anything where we could just lock in, Sometimes we play the ratchet. We play the ratchet stuff sometimes, but I think jazz, John Coltrane, we just got whatever he got his mix going, we just let it play. And
that's a good one, though.
It's a vibe for sure.
That John Coltrane and that Miles.
Yeah, for sure. That Miles
is crazy. Sure. Then you got Yusuf Days.
Yeah. So we let it go. We just let it play. And people will be like, we in a tattoo shop, or where we at a 5-star restaurant, where we at, But that's the vibe I like. It's unexpected.
The answer is we in my bag.
We in my bag, yeah. And they feel so good when they able to just be at peace with the music too. So, yeah.
So what made you pick up tattooing? How did you transition into that? From fashion to painting, then to tattooing?
I'm a person that's gonna always challenge myself to do different things artistically. I always go with the instinct. I think tattooing was something that was always in the back of my head as a kid, because people say if you can draw, you should tattoo. That's always the thing they say. Like,
always.
They always say that. So that was always something. You said what?
That's a fact.
That's a fact, right? So ever since I was a little kid, my mom even said, we can get you some fake skin and all of that. And I never really picked it up. I just was like, I'm cool. And that's when I was like 16, 17. But I'm happy I didn't pick it up at that time, because I was able to go to college. I got my degree. I ended up going to school for fashion. I mean, I got all these different things that I've learned, which made me add different things and layers to me, even working in the community, and then saying, well, I still have this thing lingering of what about tattooing? That's still something you never explored. You always thought about. Let's see what that's like. And I randomly was like, okay, painting is cool. I'm submitting for these different exhibitions or galleries or group shows, but I also want to tap into something that is going to challenge me, and I can really be laser focused on. And I was researching different apprenticeships. It really weren't a lot. You really got to know. It's like a know who you know kind of thing. There's not going to be broadcast like anywhere. So I saw that Johnny Hayden, one of the twins, he offered a tattoo academy. I just reached out to him like, hey, I'm an artist. I want to tap into tattooing. And then he told me, you got to dedicate these hours. You got to do this for X amount of time. And then we'll see where you at when we're done. So a few months practicing on the fake skin. And then he was like, okay, I'm going to hire you in to, just shadow us, study us. And then once you're ready to tattoo skin, we're gonna see what you can do. And this was almost 2 years ago. My first tat, I'm like, I'm hurting them. I'm hurting the people. But I was really like, oh my God, is that blood supposed to, I'm acting like a client, right? But that first, once I did after the first tattoo, after the jitters, I was good. I think I needed that first experience. But getting into tattooing was just something I always thought about as a kid. Didn't really know how it was possible to doing it. I think I just put it off on the back burner. You know how we just kids, we just think about stuff and one track mind and something else, our mind goes somewhere else. But that was something I always wanted to tap into and learn. And it's a lot of other things that I want to scratch off my list. So you're probably going to hear more things that I'm going to do and more commas behind my name, more asterisks. So tattooing is just, right now, this is my tattoo era. It's going to still be my skill set forever, but this is something I'm focusing, trying to master right now. So, yeah.
So just to speak about like when your family wanted you to do it and you didn't, it's usually because artists are poor. Mm-hmm. That's typically what goes because of the love and appreciation for the art. And I'm not looking, like you said, I'll do this even if I'm not getting paid. Yeah. And that's usually how I go because it's the artist's lifeblood is to create. Right. But art is usually driven by experience. So you go into college, definitely, and you having the fashion experience and doing all these different things, it helps you curate art at a different level than a person that doesn't have those experiences.
I agree.
When somebody comes and sees you to get a tattoo, that experience has to be unique just because of all of the different things that you've been through to get you to this point in terms of exposure to different mediums of art. Talk about what your space is like and what it's like getting a tattoo by you.
Yeah, thank you for prefacing that. So I'm at a shop in the plaza, Euclid to be exact. At first I was the only girl for a minute. We got another girl, she's downstairs, but I'm the first face you see when you walk in the door. I'm greeting people, answering the phones. I got pink everything. I don't even like pink, but it just was like, we had a pink chair and I just kind of coordinated, everything else gonna be pink. We had this spare pink chair, so I took it, it's mine now. And I think my experience, I know when people are nervous. I can read them. And sometimes when they're irate or feeling like super like just throwing out numbers and got a little attitude, I know it's because they're nervous. At first I went up because the owner, John, used to say, they just nervous. And then I asked them, like, you nervous? They're like, yeah. And then they change because they go from okay, how much for this? How much? I'm not paying that. I'm not, oh my God, what about on this? What about this part of my body? I'm like, are you nervous? Yeah, I'm nervous, girl. I'm like, I got you. Don't worry about it. This is my first tat. I know exactly what you're feeling right now. And then once I tell them that, they calm down a little bit. I said, first of all, you're overthinking it. It's actually not gonna hurt as bad as you think. And 9 times out of 10, the people who they come with is making it worse. Their mom is saying, girl, don't get it right there. It's gonna hurt. I'm like, tattoos hurt no matter where you get it. So don't change your idea because you think it's gonna hurt. It's temporary pain, So I'm like, it's gonna feel like a scratch. And if you want me to stop, we can stop. So even, and then sometimes their energy is transferred and we feel nervous, you know, and that's why I also want to calm them down, because I feel all of that. So relax so we can have a positive and peaceful experience. And they're appreciative, and 9 times out of 10 they come back. So I think I humanize the experience. Like, we've all been here before. It's okay to feel nervous, and that I got you. So
You definitely super personable. I feel like you light-handed when you do the test.
I am light-handed. I get that all the time. Definitely light-handed for sure. And yeah.
Because
I ain't supposed to scar.
yeah, for sure.
Because everybody done had a heavy-handed test. Everybody, I don't care how good it came out, that was hell when you got it.
Yeah.
You ain't never had one, bro?
Hell no.
You ever never had
definitely
one
had a
that
few.
hurt?
Never had a heavy
Really?
handed. That's how you wilt the skin. No,
Yeah.
I think
No, I'm
God, I had
definitely-
pretty good ones.
Light-handed for sure. Yeah.
I read in an interview that you had linked to your page that in 2018 you took a break from art. Creative mindset. We like to talk about mental health here. You know,
Yes.
that's like our thing.
Yeah.
Talk to us about some of those experiences that you went through with caused that break from art, and then what actually worked you up to getting back into it.
Okay. Thank you for it. I think I mentioned it a little bit. I see that you're
Slightly.
doing your research. Your research, I like that. I touched on it a little bit. I'm going to sum it up as I was in a relationship that just didn't serve me. It wasn't a space that, the environment that kind of supported me doing art or like taking art seriously. And I kind of just put art on the back burner and just kind of was straight work, you know. And then a lot of times when I get off of work will be draining. A lot of the creative energy I will put into somebody else's plans and ideas and vision, and they literally suck me dry. And when I get home, I don't feel like doing my own work, doing my own art. And when the pandemic hit, I'm like, oh, we don't gotta do that no more. We don't have to literally. First of all, they changed Zoom changed everything. We do not have to go in these offices 8 hours a day, every day. That is counterproductive. So when they did that, I'm like, oh, we have more time to be present. We have more time to get fresh air. We have more time to talk to our loved ones. When we didn't know what was next, that made me look at life totally differently. Like, why am I not doing what I love? Why am I not prioritizing art? Like, that's what I genuinely love. I never even talked about art with my friends. Some of my friends didn't even know I painted. And literally the pandemic opened my eyes like, no, I'm not living my life like that anymore. Like, I'm going to go get some paint, get some canvases. If I got to paint outside, I'm going to do that, you know? And simultaneously, I ended up breaking up with that person. So it was perfect timing. I got my own apartment. I literally bought a canvas before I bought a couch. And I bought an easel and a couple canvases before I even had a couch, because I really wanted to just see my art in my house. It was just blank walls. So I think a combination of things. I think sometimes you lose yourself in relationships, but at the same time, I needed that moment because it tapped into something I didn't know I needed to tap into. Like, I feel awakened. Like, sometimes you don't realize you suppress something until it was suppressed, you know? And I'm like, oh, I don't want to feel that way again. So anything artistically that I want to do, I'm going to do it. Like, I already made my mind up. Like, I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. And tattooing is one of those things. And being in art shows is one of those things. And that's just something I want to do. So my mental health was all over the place, for real. And the pandemic just woke me up. Like, people are dying, literally. And what's bringing people peace is going outside, talking to their loved ones, being creative. And that's what I was saying. So
I feel like COVID ushered in the conversation about self-care and your daily habits and your practices, because a lot of people is just self-medicating because that's what they were used to. You work 8 hours, the weekend you get fucked up, you go do it again.
Yep.
So it's one of those type of things where COVID was the big epiphany. We keep calling it the pandemic. It was the big epiphany for some folks.
I love that.
Talk about what your self-care practices. How do you get grounded? You spoke earlier about walking in nature, doing things outside of art. So,
I work out. I have a trainer. I need a trainer to keep me focused. Otherwise, I'm gonna be in the gym playing around, or I'm not gonna do the certain workouts that I need to do. Like, for the longest, I did not train upper body like that. Like, I did, but not for real. Now I'm really lifting. Like, I'm really strength training. Like, really going crazy on the weights, right? And I'm toning. Like, I'm pushing myself. My trainer pushed me to limits that I never would imagine. So shout out to Extreme Compound, Coach ASAP. That's my guy. So I train 3 days out the week, but then I also go in the gym regularly on the days that I don't train with him. I also box too. I'm a big boxing fan. My dad is into boxing. He always had the fights. I was just always into boxing just because it's a skill set that I want to learn. And a lot of boxers are, the way they're dedicated to just bettering their body, the science of boxing, all of it, I'm just infatuated by it. So I box for sport, but also for mental health too. Hitting the heavy bag is always good.
Who you like in boxing?
I like Bud. I like Terrence
Bud
Crawford.
different.
I like Terrence Crawford a lot. He's my favorite right now. But what else? I'm gonna shop. That's something I'm gonna do for sure. I'm a thrift.
Retail thing.
I ain't gonna
Retail
tell
therapy.
Abdullah Mason that you ain't shot him out, but you love Cleveland, and Cleveland's beautiful.
I'm sorry. Yes. Shout out to the
Ain't
Mason
gonna tell 'em.
brothers. Shout out to the Mason brothers. Shout out to the Mason brothers. Yes.
Home team.
And they came to the Extreme Compound before too. So definitely. Anybody from Cleveland, shout them out for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to the city. But doing my hair is therapeutic. Getting my hair done is therapeutic. Expressing myself. I'm ginger now. I'm always gonna change my hairstyles. That's one thing. Getting tattoos is therapeutic. It's actually, I learned by the artist that tattooed me. Being a tattoo artist, I actually learned by getting tattooed. So I watched a lot of the artists who did my pieces. They broke down the process, the stencils, the needles they use, the ink. Taking breaks during tattooing is important. Anybody who is interested in tattooing, getting fresh eyes, because sometimes we just tattoo and don't take a break and get fresh air or drink water or nothing. We just go do the work. But getting tattoos is very therapeutic. Being with my family centers me. My mom is like my best friend. Her and I have long talks. My grandma, talking to them, they literally talk me off the ledge all the time, literally. So they're my support, my friends. But yeah, being around family, retail therapy, boxing, working out, and being at one with nature is how I my self-care. Oh yeah, and getting fly and doing my hair and getting my nails done. You gotta have that too. So yeah.
I want to backpedal just a little bit, going back to like the pandemic when you got back into art and stuff. Two-part question.
Okay.
First thing I want to know was, what was the first thing you painted since you bought an easel and canvases before you got a couch?
Yeah.
And then the second part of that question is, what were some of the mediums you explored getting back into art? Like,
That's a good question. I just painted a rose. I painted a rose, and then that was my first thing I did. And I didn't finish it. I literally was actually like, what is this? This is ugly. But then I came back to it after a couple more pieces. But I started a rose, and then I did like I did an abstract piece with different colors. I just literally was just splashing paint on the canvas. I still have it. It's huge canvas. I'm like, this is gonna be something. It was huge and it was expensive, and I still have it hanging in that's one piece I cannot sell. I don't know. I'm just connected to it differently, and I've had it for the longest. Once I start painting again, but I can't sell it.
everything ain't for sale.
And you're right, everything ain't for sale, but I can't, it's just, I'm connected to it in a different way. But yeah, I painted that rose. I came back to that rose a year later, and
So
yeah.
we always talk about artist integrity too. Just when you say everything ain't for sale,
Yeah.
we always have, I gotta make money, but I have to still maintain who I am and be grounded within myself. This is a question I haven't asked before. Talk about some of the pieces that you turned down. Like, I don't know if you get commission work, like people ask you to do certain paintings for commission, but when it come down to tattoos, I'm pretty sure it's tattoos that you said, I'm not doing this tattoo.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely have said no. I think I more so said no because if I refused service at the shop. Actually, this one lady, I'm not gonna put nobody's names out, but she just was questioning our ability to do things and our expertise. And sometimes, like, people automatically assume I'm the receptionist there because I'm assuming they're, because I'm a woman, because why else it's a whole bunch of other people walking around. You never ask them, are you a tattoo artist? You just know they're there for a reason. They're not just there because they're bored. They're there because they're tattoo artists. So I think this one lady just doubted everything I said, everything I did, wanted to go over me to talk to the owner. And he literally said the same thing I said. And he's like, well, you up next for the walk-ins. You want to take her? I'm like, no, you could take her. You could take her, you know? And that happens often where if it don't gel, it don't gel. I'd rather you go to the person, because a lot of times they have a person in mind they want to go to anyway. So go to that person. That's okay. Because we take walk-ins. We get a lot of walk-ins. So if you don't want to come to me, it's okay. If you don't want to work with me, that's fine too. But I'm not going to be a slave to the client. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that. If it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. I've turned those clients down. It's not a lot of those. Again, it's probably that nervous energy that we talked about. That's just, they're projecting. As far as commissions with paintings, I haven't turned down anything, but I do like to get to know who is going to buy my art. Because I don't want my art just sitting on the floor somewhere.
I'm the second person
you know
to
what I'm
say
saying?
that.
I want to know who's collecting my art. I do want to know that. That's important to me.
What's that attachment about? I'm just so curious.
It's not attachment. It's just I would like to know.
Let me reframe
I'm sorry,
it. Let me reframe it because I don't want to be disrespectful.
Yeah.
Because our previous guest had said something similar, and it was something I was very interested in. It was almost like a baby to a certain degree. It's like it's a part of you that you don't just want sitting up in somebody's house that you don't vibe with.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's that. I just want to know who has my art. Not all the time, but especially now, I'm actually handing people the art. Like, it's not like I'm working with a dealer or something, or somebody else is managing my art. I'm actually talking to these people. So I do want to know, what's piqued your interest? I do want to know those
community
things.
Engagement.
Yeah, I just want to know, like, the tie and the connection to it. It was somebody was interested in buying the piece, and this person just didn't connect with what she wanted to buy something from me, but I don't think she connected to the art. I'm like, we could just make something totally different. You don't have to buy this because you think it's nice. If it's not something that resonates with you, that's okay. So I think with me, I'm actually handing these people the art, and I just want to know, like, who you are a little bit. And it's not for everybody. Some pieces are done because it's a job. They hired, I did a commission piece. I'm not even attached to it. I don't care who has it. But some pieces, I would like to know if there's somebody who expressed interest in buying something. I would love to shake your hand and take a picture with you, maybe grab coffee and just get to know you for a little bit. And then that's it. After that, go your merry way. But I do want to connect with people. I am interested in behind why you were interested, because I want to know, because I want to know the consumer. Why are you interested? Maybe I need to make more of this type of art. Maybe this is piquing a certain audience. I want to tap into why they like it, and I think that's going to help me evolve overall. And I think having that personal connection helps my art. So, yeah.
Sometimes as artists, we face burnout.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ask you what do you do during burnout, but I do want to know, how does your role within community engagement keep you inspired as an artist during burnout?
Yeah. Man. My work in community engagement and working in the community, I think just the different projects I do, and just looking at it from an artistic lens. Like, I was doing work on debt-related driver's license suspension and trying to pass that law and get people to reinstate their license. And how do you bring art into that? Well, we was able to create a community advisory committee and create like this dope training, and we incorporated like different things where people felt seen. Like, it was just different ways in which we changed the way we communicate with community and how we simplify some of these bills and the language in the bill. Like, we were able to do it in a creative way through social media, through just conversations. But I think with the burnout, I get humbled all the time with life. So sometimes working in the community, I get humbled a lot. And I think hearing people's stories, being able to be honored to be in these spaces, like with the green couch work that I was talking about earlier. Like I took a green couch, me and my team, we took it to people's gardens or farms or wherever. We were invited to interview them. So I always feel honored. Like I'm never like, do this thing for us. It's like, can I come? Can I come? Not on some sinner stuff. Can I come in? Like, am I invited to come in? Like the movie, that's a pun.
You ran in and out of here all day.
Right,
Now you
right.
asking, can you come in?
Can you come in? Right. But not like, I feel honored to be in people's presence. Like, I remove all the titles when I'm in rooms, like, because I'm a human being. That's irrelevant, you know? So when I was able to do Green Couch, people were like, thank you so much. I'm like, no, thank you. Like, I think just being in spaces where I can talk to people and be myself, that always centers me. That always brings me back. Because it was a time when I first got into nonprofit, you know, we all do code switching, whether it's intentionally, unintentionally, whatever. And I literally, my first job, I was super intimidated, but I didn't have to be, you know? I figured that out, like, I'm smarter than a lot of people in this room, but I feel like I didn't have the accolades. I didn't have the skill set. I didn't have the whatever I thought I needed. But in reality, all I needed to be was myself. So when I'm in spaces where I can be myself, I'm myself to the fullest. There's no other version of me. You got the artist, you got the philanthropist, you got the community engagement person. I'm all one. You're gonna get the same energy, the same person, no matter where I'm at. So I think just being honored to be talking with my people, to be in these spaces, that always centers me, and I bring that energy to the work, to painting and tattooing. And I've actually tattooed some people in the community as well. So that's also cool too. Like being able to have connections all across all the work all what I do. So yeah.
What keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated? Never being content. Always wanting to grow. Always want to evolve. I think what keeps me motivated is challenging myself. I need a challenge. I have to have a challenge. Like I have to. Like, if it's too easy, I'm like, throw something else at me. I just gotta have it. I just have to. I think what motivates me too is, I don't have kids yet, but I always work for my future kids. Like that's always something I think about. Like, I wonder what my legacy is gonna be. I wonder what my kids gonna say when I'm no longer here, or what my family's gonna say. I don't know anything beyond my great-grandparents. I don't know who did anything before me. And unfortunately, my family didn't do a good job of capturing that data. And, I want to make sure my family know who I was, from, hundreds of years from now. I want to make sure I have a paper trail of the work I did, and they can look me up. If whatever technology is around, or even having something tangible, that's important for me to pass down. So that's what motivates me. My future, whatever my future looks like. So, yeah.
You're going to be hanging up in the house. What you mean?
It's going to be in the house, but I hope it stay in the house. I hope they know that's valuable. I hope so,
They're going to keep your work.
Yeah, so.
That brings me to a question that I always ask, guess, if you had to leave the world with one last piece that commemorates who you were as a person, as an artist, what would it be? It could be any medium that you like, any expression.
One last piece. Dang. That's crazy. If I was still in the space where I'm in now and the type of art that I do now, it's going to be some Cleveland. I don't know what, though. I don't know. That's a really, really good question. One last piece? It might just be me with my fro. I might do another self-portrait back to where we came, a full circle moment where my last piece is the upgraded version of the first piece, but it's just gonna be me again in my current, wherever I was in that space, in that time. And it's just gonna be that expression. Just bring it back to where I first started and leave with me. Leave with me, I guess. And you can interpret who I am or whatever I was at that moment, but I'm gonna bring it back to me. So.
Tell us.
Yeah.
What are you most grateful for?
What am I most grateful for? Oh man. I'm grateful for self-awareness. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the relationship I have with God and the relationship that I'm continuing to have with God. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for just grateful for just being here. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be able to tap into my skill set, to tap into a gift that so many people never get a chance to tap into their light. I'm so grateful for that. I went to school with so many kids who never know that they were powerful.
Yeah.
I hate that I would hate that I could have never imagined that I'm chasing my dreams. I'm actually living my dreams. Like I wrote this down, you know, so I'm grateful to get a glimpse of this. Of course, I'm not on the scale where I want to be, but I'm grateful just to be able to say I'm doing it, you know, and I feel free. I'm grateful to be free, you know, or feeling a little bit of freedom. But I'm grateful for that. And I want other kids and young people to tap in. We're all talented in some way. You know, don't let whatever society or whatever the troubles that you got going on dim your light, or, you know, I just definitely want people to tap into that, because that's what is saving me right now. That's what's waking me up in the morning. That's what's making me feel powerful right now, is tapping into my light. So yeah.
That's peace.
Yeah.
So before we get up out of here, tell the people where they can find you at, for the people who not following you.
Okay, so you guys can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is enjoy__art. That's enjoy spelled ENJOI__art. And you can find me on TikTok at enjoyart216. So
Joi Carter, y'all.
Appreciate
you for coming and joining us.
yes, thank you guys.
Hey,
Woo.
shout out to the boo.